Locally indigenous native ground covers. So the first is a tongue twister, Bidgee-Widgee, or Acaena novae-zelandiae. Probably pronounced that wrong. So this is a little ground cover. So I purchased these seeds. They come very fine like this with these little spikes on them. So I just spread them over a paper towel. In hindsight, I wish I'd just gone and collected these seeds because it's so easy and it's so common everywhere in Australia and New Zealand, in the south particularly. So after spreading them over the towel, then I covered this bit of towel. I then got a water bottle and I sprayed it. So these are just going to plant around the place in between sort of tan bark and stuff like that to see how they go. Thought I'd just give it a try. These were the first seeds that I've purchased for ground covers. So now what I've then done is I've chucked them in a bag and I'm going to chuck them in the fridge to give them 2 weeks of cold stratification to mimic winter, because supposedly you get better results from propagating the seeds doing that. The second is Karbala or pig face, which is Carpobrotus rossii. This is probably the jewel of the succulents in Australia. Grows natively around here and it just spreads like wildfire. I just chucked a few of these in the ground and in 6 months this grows. You start cutting it and planting it elsewhere. It's so common and so easy to grow here that you end up needing to either pull it out or just put it selectively in places, because otherwise it's just going to sort of take over. But I'd prefer to have that than any of these foreign grasses, and it produces the most stunning pink flowers. Next is the native violet, Viola hederacea. This one I really like. So I've just taken this from on the footpath locally. I ripped it up. These are all just the runners. So I thought what I would try do is chuck it in one of these trays and then fill it up with water and see if it grows roots. And then if it grows roots, I'll plant it. These prefer to be not in full sun, so I've got this nice sort of dark, wet corner out the back, which is actually going to be a tea corner, which I've prepared with a topping. So I'll put it there. I might try doing this from seed if the beautiful violet flowers come up, or I'll just find them around town and see if I can find the seed. I'm always shocked by how big the seeds are for something to feel so light and flimsy. So the third one I'm doing is the running Postman or Canadia prostrata. Also, this is a stunning ground cover. I love these red flowers. So this one I also purchased the seeds. Again, it's incredible how big these seeds are compared to the size of the flowers. And I think they drop them on the ground, so they can be quite hard to find. So I put them in hot water. I left them overnight, and then I'm chucking them in a seed tray with perlite, peat, not peat moss, because there's I think too much nitrogen or phosphorus, and just some regular seed and cutting mix. And then I chucked it in a seed tray. Let's see if we can see any of the seeds. I surface sowed. Let's see if we can see one here. I'm sure we can. Yeah, there's one there. And then I chucked a layer of vermiculite over the top, and now I've put them in the greenhouse. So I'm going to just keep them nice and moist and see what springs from that. So the last one, which I've titled as mystery ground covers, although there's no real mystery because these are so common, I've just forgotten their name, but you find them definitely in woodlands. So the first one is this one, which is more woody and has nice flowers, but because it's been dry here, this one's looking a bit depressed. So I've just chucked that in water to see if it strikes any roots, and if it does, then I'll just chuck it straight in the ground at an area that's nice and woody at my place. And yeah, it's just a nice leafy ground cover, this one. And the second one, again, forgotten the name. It's got these kind of sausage-like fingers which look like a succulent, but I just also pulled out of the ground. This one does have roots and it also has runners. So I'm just going to do an experiment where I put some in water, some in a perlite and peat moss mix, and some just straight into soil and see what happens.